Okay, welcome everyone. Thank you for joining our session today. We're going to dive a little deeper into some of the key features in our recent release, and also, if we have time at the end, to open it up for some Q&A. So looking forward to walking through this with you today. My name is David Zimmerman. I'm a principal on our delivery and innovation team, and also we have Adam Jones here, and we have Deepti, who are product owners on Oracle and Workday. So we're going to be diving in, each of us, to some different areas, but really excited to focus on a few key features and really bring them to life and do some demonstrations today. Before we jump in, just some housekeeping. Please mute your line if you do have questions. We'd love to answer them. So please, engage us, and we will discuss at the end and open it up for some Q&A and answer any burning questions that you have at the end. So please hold those till the end. As we look at our agenda today, wanted to start with, most importantly, some of the top requests we're getting from our customers and fixes and things we have enhanced in our core product. We will then focus on Oracle updates, some things to dive into. We'll go into that in just a minute, of what those items are, as well as Workday. So a lot of updates coming across the different capabilities in those two areas. There's also platform and AI specific updates. There is a patch release coming on June 21st. So just want to be very clear that there are some features that will be coming in the June 21st patch. And then we'll open it up for Q&A. So just some key highlights before we dig in. And we have sent out the release notes, so there's a lot of detail. For today's session, we're not going to go through every single item and kind of read off of the release notes. Those are there for you to dive into and to see all those features and dig in and understand them. But we will talk through some of the highlights and actually get into the system, show you what those look like, and explain more of the value and how you should be leveraging these key features. So, one of our mission and our overall impact and what we're really focused on for our customers is always moving the needle with automation, reducing the manual workload, and just creating a greater reliability, giving you the most value, return on investment with how you're leveraging Opkey, but also how you're leveraging Opkey to support, to sustain, to operate, and to implement your enterprise solutions. And bringing all this together with automation, we're helping to reduce, as I said, the cost, but also risk. I mean, that's an important factor. And what this allows you to do is be more resilient and minimize disruption. So that's, as we go through all this is really our overall vision and our purpose, and kind of how all these things really come together to support that. So some of the key areas we'll talk about today: AI-powered automation and resource management. So you will hear this acronym called AIRM. This is an exciting new AI capability that we will dive into. You will also hear the word Maestro, and we will do a demonstration today. So excited to show you how we're incorporating a large language model AI engine to really create a better experience, make it easier to leverage Opkey and execute the tasks that you're already leveraging in the system, and really create efficiencies and speed up that time to value. So we'll dive into that. Enhanced enterprise integrations. So we continue to expand our support for Redwood and how you move to Redwood, as well as on the Workday side, our test discovery. Again, ultimately making this more reliable for you, more comprehensive, and ensuring you have the most coverage, and making it as seamless as possible. Smarter test management. So we're always investing in our core testing product, which is really where we started, and giving you more robust reporting, dashboards to view kind of executions, really easier and more flexible ways to manage data as you're kind of tracking and executing, and really bringing improvements that are more on the technical side, but also really help as you drive outcomes and present that to business leaders as well. Platform usability and security improvements, always top of mind for us, and something we're very passionate about is not just how the ease of use and how you can navigate, how flexible it is to meet kind of your expectations, your requirements, but also on the data security side, making sure we're continually achieving more credentials, more safeguards and ways of protecting data, and making sure that whether it's kind of the way you're leveraging those virtual machines, those agents, the way you're actually letting users into the application, we're helping you make sure you're meeting your compliance standards, and it's very comprehensive. So we'll dig into some of that. ConfigAgent continues to be a focus area for us, and how we expand the capabilities, and not just being able to move configurations and copy and import export a lot of different capabilities we already have there, but really bringing this ability to compare and understand the differences in configuration, and being able to manage multiple environments, and a lot of the complexity that comes into your environment strategy and all the manual work that's behind that, really simplifying that and speeding that up with automation. So really high level to some of the key things we wanted to highlight, but let's go ahead and dig in. So again, I don't want to just read off these slides for you. We've shared all these new features and release notes, but I just want to emphasize, our continued investment into listening to our customers, understanding what those requests are, taking those into account, and getting that into our enhancements in our releases. So you'll see here at the top we have those customer requested fixes, very logical ways of making our solution better and easier to leverage. As you kind of move down the page, you'll see Oracle specific updates. We talked about AIRM. Again, you'll hear this word Maestro, really being this large language model AI experience. So we will show some key features in each of these buckets today, and dig in a little bit deeper. RMA, so our Redwood Migration Accelerator, some continued innovation there. ConfigAgent, as we discussed, is a big focus. Observability, and how we support creating user guides and leveraging any support capabilities. And artificial intelligence, our team is working on a lot of exciting things. Some of those are coming out in this release, and there's a lot more to come. So we're really excited in the coming releases to continue to expand on our AI capabilities. So then shifting to Workday, there's many different features we've brought to the table here. I know we highlighted the test discovery being something we continue to enhance. And then, kind of as we get to the bottom of our list here, focusing on platform level enhancements. And then I do want to highlight this patch that we'll be taking on the 21st. So, there are a couple of trailing features that are going to come in that patch. There won't be any downtime, so there's no need to plan for that. But again, these features are really critical and going to add a lot of value. So excited to get these over to you as soon as possible. Okay. So again, please read through all of these on your own time, and dig a little bit deeper. For today, we're going to highlight one of the customer requested features. And Deepti, keep me honest here. We're going to focus on this first one, on the integration.
Absolutely, David.
Okay, great. So I will pass it over to Deepti. She's going to highlight some of the different capabilities that we've heard from our customers, and she's going to dig in and show us what this actually looks like. So with that, I'll stop sharing and pass it over to Deepti.
Thanks, David. Folks, my Zoom skills are not something I'm extremely proud of. So I'll share my screen, and I hope I'm sharing the right thing. Let me know if you can see my screen.
Yes, Deepti, we can see it.
Awesome. All right. Thanks, David. Hi, everyone. My name is Deepti. I work here in Opkey in the product side. I pretty much lead and head the Workday side of development, and closely work with David and Adam here. And as David said, extremely grateful and thank you for your time. And I hope I can actually do justice to the value add this release has done to the overall Opkey capability. Right. So guys, the first feature I would like to focus is the out-of-the-box integration of Jira with Opkey, which has been an existing feature and is something which is very greatly loved by a lot of our customers. Continuous enhancement to it has been a huge request, essentially and primarily raising the defect in a one-click defect raise from Opkey to Jira has been a feature which customers use a whole lot. And when I say Jira, it's not just Jira. It could be Azure. It could be any third-party tool like Qtest that customers might be using. The request or the problem that people were facing was currently when we raise a defect from Opkey, it raises a defect in Jira automatically, and by default, it attaches the detailed test validation report. So there was no flexibility and permission to say, hey, instead of attaching a 100-page validation report, can you just attach a high-level summary report? So in a glimpse, I would know the test case has failed or passed, or what is the status. So that is something, because this feature is so widely used, we understood the value it brings to the table, and that is what we've done. So here, as you can see, I've gone into Opkey. I'm selecting the project and test management tool. Now, when you come here in the test management, this is where I am telling which Jira instance I'm connecting my project to. So in this particular instance, I'm saying, hey, any defect that you raise in the Jira demo project. Now, this drop down is what you will see the enhanced version in this new release. So far, up until now, detailed execution reports were the only option. We have also included these two reports, summary report and validation report. So you have a complete flexibility to say, with my run, attach whichever report you want to, and then the tool will automatically, at the time of raising the defect, read the setting and will load the report accordingly. So here I have changed the settings. Now to actually demonstrate it, I have gone into the test case and I'm doing a run. So trigger the run, and I will make sure that this run is something which is going to fail, because it will then trigger a defect raise in Jira. So I'll just very quickly fast forward this so you can see the real crux of it. Now, my execution is happening and I'm updating the live logs here. The whole idea and purpose of me showing this is I want to make sure I show you that in the logs, I'm capturing which Jira defect I'm going to be raising. So it is telling me, hey, JDP2 is the bug I have mapped it to. Now I have gone to my Jira instance and I am pulling up that defect which has just been raised. So I've come here, JDP2 has automatically been raised. I click on it, and this what you see here. Up until now, it always was detailed report. But now with every run, you can choose which report you want to attach. So this was a report which you all are used to seeing if you've been using this feature. This is the new report. You can download and it is attached there for your reference. So you don't have to necessarily go through the 40 pages to see, oh, exactly what has failed, where it has failed, how many steps have failed. At a summary level, it gives you an insight. This is what I wanted to highlight. And if anyone has any questions, by all means, please pop in the chat and I would love to answer them. In addition to this, I'll just take a couple of minutes to focus on one more feature, which I haven't got here to show the live demo of because it's a plugin update, but this is again something which is a highly requested feature. As you know, at Opkey, we are constantly updating, upgrading, enhancing ourselves to bring the maximum ROI and value to the table. So our plugin requires frequent updates. We have made the plugin update really automated by creating the whole update dashboard and a one-click update. So you won't have to go to all the VMs that you're using, all the machines, and update one at a time. It will push the bulk update in one go. So as David said, I highly encourage you to read the release notes, go through them, and you will actually see how beneficial this is. And it gives us the flexibility as a business to bring maximum value and a very quick turnaround of the updates to you with the minimal downtime. So these are the two key updates from the platform perspective I wanted to highlight, David. I'll pass it on to you for the Oracle updates.
Perfect. Thank you, Deepti. All right, let me share my screen. Okay. Yes, and again, many other customer requested features that are being released. So please take a look at that. As I'm sure something that you've asked for is on that list, so you can understand what's being delivered in that area. So now let's move on to Oracle. And really two pieces we want to, actually three, want to focus today. I know we've mentioned this AIRM, which you will hear the word Maestro. And so I know there's a lot of words on this screen, but at the end of the day, what we're able to do is use a large language model and a natural language experience. Think of ChatGPT, think of other large language models on the market, and but being very focused and trained within Opkey and the tasks you can perform in Opkey, as well as things you can actually get from the web. So information, knowledge, release notes. So a lot of really creative and engaging ways to work with Maestro. And at the end of the day, what this allows you to do is to do more with less. So you can have a smaller team operating in Opkey. It's more functional and easier to leverage because you're commanding versus navigating around and kind of manually triggering automation. So it just takes that automation to the next level and actually brings the Opkey platform user that's on your side to more of a manager level, if you will. You're commanding Maestro, who's then delegating work to these different agents that we have available, and ultimately it's creating a plan, getting your approval, and then you can move forward and execute that plan. So with that, let's dive in and take a look at how this works and what this looks like. Let me get out of my presentation mode here. Okay, so AIRM is a specific work area. We have kind of our home where you can engage with Maestro and start, asking for tasks to be executed. Again, this can be leveraged for any given agent. It could be used for testing specifically. It could be used for a combination of agents, like configuration agent and testing agent and training agent. And there really is no limit. And then also you can pull information from the web and knowledge that you would commonly expect from a large language model when you're trying to kind of piece together information. And ultimately, we have a human in the loop approach to help empower you and your team to kind of define a set of tasks, make sure that those tasks are kind of properly arranged and in the plan that you would expect before you execute, since there's some pretty serious actions being taken here. And then you can go ahead and execute. Before we actually kind of walk through a quick demonstration of that, you can get insights onto kind of what Maestro is doing. As you see here, even on the homepage, it's going to track how much automation has been done, how many hours you've saved, as you think of really the work Maestro is doing and the value that it's bringing. If there's any jobs in the queue, this is where you can see that whole audit trail of what's been done, especially if you have teams and different folks doing different things. You can track all of that. You can actually see, if you have multiple Maestro agents or AIRM agents. So again, these are more of these kind of super agents is kind of for lack of a better word, where you're able to delegate. So you can scale this. I mean, that's the beauty of AI. So if you have larger teams, depending on the volume of automation that you're leveraging, you can have many different agents on the shelf, and that just lets you move faster if there's parallel tasks being executed. So you can kind of track them here and the runs that they executed and kind of what's happening. You can also look at the different jobs see the progress, and any logs as well. So all the information to audit what's happening, to go back and, once you've actually executed, created a pipeline or a plan, and you've executed that, you have all the details on how long it took. Was it successful? When was that executed? So you can get that complete visibility into what your team's doing, not only on the users in Opkey, but also these agents and what they're doing and how they're performing. So what I'll do is I'll do a brief, and excuse me, I'm just going to pull up a prompt that I was going to plug in today. For the sake of time, won't make you watch me type. So I'll just kind of paste this in. But essentially what we're doing, and I'll speak to this as I hit analyze. So we'll select our agent, and in this demo environment, we just have one setup. So let me go ahead and choose that, and then we will put our agent to work. So let me proceed. And so in this prompt, this is an example of using multiple of our agents. So this is using our config agent, which I know Adam will dig into some more on some new capabilities there. We're also going to be doing a comparison of two environments. We want to be able to select certain migrations to move over. And then once that's ready for review, we want to be notified. And then after that, kind of separately, we want to use a testing agent to actually build a test suite so we can execute functional tests aligned to those areas that we touched from a configuration perspective. And then getting a final report of what's been done. How was the success of those tests? Was there any errors or issues? Do we need to go back, and is there something that we did incorrectly in the configuration, or something we need to look at and focus on? So I believe there's about 5 different commands in here. And what Maestro is doing is on the right here, processing all of this. And if it needs to do any research, it's doing that. It's also working with these different agents and kind of delegating and starting to assign what those tasks will look like. And in a minute, if it has any questions for the user, or for me in this instance, it will ask clarifying questions. This is, again, a very kind of something we're really honestly used to now, is just this natural language back and forth conversation. It's not, and it can build on itself. So if you forgot something in your prompt, once it's done thinking, you can continue to ask Maestro to make updates, and until you get to that kind of final landing place of the plan and the series of tasks that you want to execute. So let's give it a second here as it continues to think, and let's see if there's any clarifying questions before it generates the plan for us. Yeah, and as I mentioned, I know in this example we're showing 2 agents being leveraged, but there really is no limit. I mean, you could use all the agents that Opkey has made available. You could use one of them. I mean, if you just are a testing customer, you can still leverage this. And if you think of some of the creative things you can do with not just actions within Opkey, but also web-based searching, you can actually pull information from, and let's just use an Oracle example. You could pull the latest release notes. You could do an impact analysis as you execute your tests, and you can bring all that together in a report. So you have a plan for that release on the new features, any field level changes. So there's honestly, the possibilities are really endless. And we love hearing different use cases from our customers. But it's really powerful to be able to do everything in Opkey with Maestro, and also access information. As we know, really we're using automation for the purpose of our enterprise solution, in this case, Oracle, and there's other information we may need to gather. So now it's kind of thought through all this, it's doing some validations, and then it's going to give us some results here in just a minute. Okay, so in this case, Maestro figured it out. Sometimes Maestro might ask for some clarifying questions, and the beauty of AI, and this is something we would all understand, is it learns, right? So what's really amazing about this is if you've told Maestro before, you need to consider this. The kind of AI learning will take that into account for the next prompt. And so, as we've trained Maestro, again, it just continues to get better and better and smarter and smarter. And so Maestro is very mature and can, as you can see, can hit the mark on the first try. But let's say in your specific environment or in your specific case, when you're using Maestro, you have 4 different environments that you want Maestro to be aware of with different URLs and ways of kind of accessing those environments. You can actually load that information up front. You can attach give it an attachment that it could read, and various ways of training it. So it's specific to your use case, to your environments, to the way you will use Maestro. So that's just really powerful. And then you can actually train your team to say, hey, whether it's kind of something we're doing within configuration or testing, or this is how we approach a release cycle. Here's some prompts that we should be using to execute the tasks. Over time, we'll get kind of more refined, and your team will have confidence on what are those prompts to get those results. So what we can see now is the results, and really there was kind of the ultimate answer that Maestro has provided, and this is this human in the loop approach. So this is pretty serious actions, right? You're actually taking actions within your enterprise solution in Oracle. And so you want to validate and make sure, I agree with this. I mean, in most other AI you might experience, you're kind of asking something and it's executing immediately. This is very intentional. We want to make sure that you approve, the actions that are going to be taken. Maybe you forgot something in the prompt. Maybe, there's something missing. You wanted an approval or a notification that you didn't ask for. You could, look at this and say, you know what, Maestro, I need you to add something, or I need you to make a change because I just kind of forgot I needed something else in here. You can keep going through a thread and a conversation, and Maestro will continue to adjust this result and this series of tasks until you get to where you want to be. So absolutely can do it in the first go, but if you forgot something, you can keep kind of iterating with that conversational thread to get there. Once you've got the pipeline the way you want, the series of tasks, you can say sounds good and create workflow. And so what will happen here is this will lock this in, and you can save this now. You can come back and reference it later. So it's something that is in your kind of audit trail, something you can come back to. So once this completes, we can kind of take a little bit of a deeper look, and for the sake of time, we'll move on to some other updates, but just want to show you how this all kind of came together. So again, this is now saved, okay? We can see that we're starting. I asked to export configuration from 2 environments. I wanted to compare those configurations, and I want to be notified. So once the comparison is ready, it's going to notify me. So I don't have to sit here and watch the screen. After that's done, this is a human in the loop approach where I want to selectively choose what migrates. So it's going to show me the delta across these 2 environments and say, here's the differences. What do you want to migrate? Since it can't understand, I'm picking and choosing based on what's approved configuration. So very intentional step there. Once I select that, it will import into the target environment, which is dev2, which is what I said in my prompt. It'll create a test plan for Core HR, because in this case, we were moving Core HR configurations. Then it will identify and make sure we have all the test cases. I called out, I want to test everything in Core HR, all the business processes. So it's going to validate those test cases are available, execute the test suite of Core HR, and then it's going to send a final report showing, was there any failures? Did everything pass? What is that comprehensive readout of that test suite execution? And so, you can come in, you can click on any of these tasks. You can see more details. So let's just kind of click on one here. And you can see that it's actually, it understood that I wanted to do Core HR, which environment, all the tasks. And it can kind of tell you how it got there and the export file that we're going to be extracting out. So, all this detail came into account. And if there was anything missing, Maestro would ask a clarifying question. So it would fill that task out. Finally, what you can do, you can add steps in. So again, let's say I've forgotten the prompting. I got to the stage and I said, oh, I can't believe I forgot. You can add a task in here if you'd like. You could have kept going through the conversational thread. That's how I prefer to do it, but this is giving you the option if you need to. And then ultimately you can hit run. And so when you hit run, all of this will execute. You will see statuses. Boxes will turn green, and you will actually get logs and data that show how long it took. Was it successful as it's going through and executing? So with that, I will stop showing Maestro, but this is very exciting. Honestly, this is a big differentiator for Opkey, and a lot of our customers are very excited for this. So if you are interested in hearing more, please reach out to our team because we'd love to talk more about how you can start leveraging Maestro within your organization. All right, so with that, let me go back to the deck here. Okay, so we dug into AIRM. Now let's talk about RMA, and I'm going to pass it over to, I'm going to pass it over to Adam. He's going to give us an update on RMA as well as ConfigAgent. So a lot of capabilities coming out, and Adam, I'll pass it over to you.
Yeah, I appreciate that, David. And then while you're waiting, if you'll check the Q&A, I think there's a question about license for AIRM, if you can answer that. Well, welcome. Good morning, everyone. I'm Adam Jones. I'm a principal, also in our innovation excellence practice here at Opkey. I generally lead the Oracle development on the Opkey side. And so happy to take you through some of our updates on the Redwood Migration Accelerator tool, as well as ConfigAgent within Oracle. So let me just share my screen and we'll dive in. Can everyone see my screen?
Yes, Adam, we can see it.
All right. So let me start with ConfigAgent, just high level, right? We have a couple of new features that have been released, particularly around what we're calling selective migration. So selective migration, generally in the market, leveraging Oracle Cloud, there are some limitations in terms of how customers can generally move objects or compare objects across environments. And so with Opkey now with selective migration, we do have the ability to assess, compare, and migrate objects at the task level, right? So we can do things at, let's say, the legal employer or business unit level, but also going down to the individual task level, migrating those objects over from a lower environment to another lower environment, or looking at one environment and comparing against a couple of additional environments and getting those objects moved over. So that's at the business object level. And then in addition to that, we have the ability to migrate fast formulas relatively easily. You can come into selective migration, select that migrate fast formula. There will be a drop down of all of the particular fast formulas in one environment, and then you can just select your target instance where you'd like to move those fast formulas to, and it will export the fast formula itself. Right now, I think on the Oracle side, once that fast formula has been updated in the target environment, you'll need to compile it. We will be working on a feature to also compile those fast formulas in addition to the migration. But for now, we'll migrate the fast formula for you as part of this capability. In addition to that, similarly, we have the BI report migration where we can migrate either the entire catalog or the individual data models and BI reports templates that are contained within a particular catalog in one instance, source environment, right, and migrate that over to your target. And then we also have the approval workflow migration as well. So if you have a workflow set up in BPM in one particular instance, and you've made updates, you want to port those over to another instance, we can do that now with selective migration for workflows. So more to come there in terms of additional tech objects that we're looking to support from a selective migration process, but that's what we have available as of this 6.14 release. So if you have any other questions, please feel free to add those to the Q&A. And if you have other feature ideas, right, let us know. Always eager and happy to hear that feedback. So moving to the RMA tool, our Redwood Migration Accelerator. So for those folks that are either considering or have started their journey over to Redwood, obviously leveraging our tool we feel is the best and easiest path forward for most customers to understand, be able to assess their environment in terms of what profile options they have need either enabled or need to be enabled for Redwood, and then moving to personalizations and migrating those personalizations over into Visual Builder Studio, whether that's Transaction Design Studio or Page Composer, and then obviously the automated testing that comes with that as part of our platform, as well as job aid generation for those new Redwood pages. So if you've started to leverage the RMA tool, you have those basic capabilities. With our 6.14 release, we've added one, let's just say, hygiene, housekeeping capability, and I'll cover that now, and then we'll go into the maybe more exciting feature around security comparison. But from a housekeeping standpoint, right, again, we're continually trying to innovate this platform broadly, but specifically for RMA, trying to give our customers more flexibility in terms of, hey, you may not have, some modules that are in scope for Redwood or even in scope for your actual platform. So we've given the ability right now to have the settings tab up here in the top right corner. We have the ability to toggle this visible status. So if a particular module is not in your scope, let's say you're not doing goals, we're not doing recruiting, we're not doing talent management, performance or profile management. And so we just want to exclude those from our assessment and subsequent pages related to RMA. So we can come here. This is kind of a one-time activity, right? You can come here and apply those settings. And then you can see here, right, our graphs and our numbers up at the top have now been updated to where we only have the modules that are in our scope that we need to build out as part of this Redwood migration project, right? So you can, if something were to come into your scope, or you just wanted to look at this in a limited capacity for one reason or another, again, thinking about how you're reporting this out to the higher ups, this gives you some additional ability to focus in on those particular modules. And if you want to expose other modules as well, you can, of course, go back and re-enable those tabs as well. So I've now updated that back, and now we have payroll and performance showing up as well. So just give a little bit more quality of life enhancement to our overall tool, and hopefully give you more visibility in your reporting around all of this. And then the second and last feature I just want to cover for RMA is this role assessment feature. And so where we are with this particular capability is on the left-hand side, you can see we have roles extracted from instance column. And again, these are roles that are assigned to users in your particular environment. And then we have an identification of what is that role? Like, is it a job role? Is it an abstract role? Is it a data role? For the most part, data roles are going to be what is assigned to users, and obviously abstract roles. But then we can see, the custom roles. Generally, every customer is going to have a particular naming convention that they're applying to their custom roles, or you as a customer are going to know, what are your high volume, high traction use roles that you're going to want to compare as part of your Redwood migration. So what this tool or capability is going to do, right, is going to help customers understand what is potentially missing in their custom roles when they enable those Redwood pages, right? So we've heard out in the market, even prior to working on our Redwood Migration Accelerator, we heard continuously that one of the challenges customers are facing is when they move to Redwood, they enable Redwood pages. They've migrated their personalizations over. Well, one of the very first things that customers need to be doing in terms of a prerequisite is assessing and updating their security roles as well, because there are specific privileges. There are also, in certain cases, data security policies that need to be added to security roles in order for those Redwood pages to work properly. So folks have enabled a Redwood page, and they're seeing funny things occur in terms of the experience, where buttons are grayed out, like a save or submit button is either missing or it's grayed out. You can't interact with it. Parts of the page, there are literally fields that might be missing, or parts of the page are just not behaving as expected. It's not resolving appropriately, right? The reason that's happening in most cases is because a privilege is missing from your custom role assigned to that user. So this tool is going to help kind of uncover those potential gaps in your security build. And so the way that it works right now is, I can take let's say this SLO resource, human resource manager limited role, right? I want to compare that to a potential line manager delivered role, or even maybe an HR role. I can compare this against multiple security roles, right? And these are the delivered roles that are out of the box. With of course, the understanding is that those delivered roles contain the updated privileges in most cases. So where we are right now, we're comparing these custom roles to delivered job roles that Oracle's offering out of the box. We can also compare it to duty roles, because there are some cases where Oracle has released a security update or a new privilege, but it's an orphaned privilege, or maybe it's just tied to a duty role. And so customers have to add, you go through and read those release notes, and then you'll add those privileges or potential duty roles to your custom roles as well, based on the capability, based on what, do you want to uptake that particular functionality or not? But we're going to give you that option, right, to compare your security roles to multiple potential single or multiple other delivered roles, and then simply compare that role. So in this case, right, if we're comparing this human resource manager limited role to the human resource manager and or line manager role, we can tell that the custom role has 5 privileges that are assigned to it. There are 13 privileges that are required for Redwood, right, up here in this required column. And then what is missing, right? So we have 13 privileges which are missing. So 2 from that human resource manager role, and then 11 from that line manager role are missing from this particular role, which might be impacting, right, that role's ability to see particular Redwood pages. So that's where we are with this particular capability. We are working on enhancements in terms of making this even more robust. I mentioned, the fact that we can compare against role to role comparison right now, working on a role to page comparison where we have a page that you need access to, and then we're going to tell you, hey, if you want to access that page, these are the privileges that are missing from that role that you're trying to access that page. So give you even more flexibility to understand kind of what might be missing in your security setup. So a couple of other things, that we've obviously released on the Oracle side as it relates to ConfigAgent and RMA. But I think these are the highlights that we're proud to offer our customers. And again, if you have any other enhancement requests or features that you want to bring to our attention, please do let us know. And I appreciate your time. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you, Adam. Okay, so let me take it back here. So thank you for covering all the things coming out on Oracle side. I know a lot to cover there, and we've kind of scratched the surface, but again, encourage everyone to go through those updates and dig into the details to really understand all that's coming in this release. Okay, so with that, I want to pass it over to Deepti on the Workday updates, and then if we have a little bit of time at the end of the call, we can kind of surface some Q&A, but we will be answering as we've continued to answer in the Q&A window. So if you have anything along the way, please jump in there. We'll make sure to do that, and if time permits, we'll open it up for some of the kind of themes we've been hearing in the Q&A chat. So with that, Deepti, I'll pass it over to you.
Thanks, David. Adam, that was great. Got me excited about all the things you're doing for Oracle. All right, guys, let me know when you can see my screen. I hope it's visible. Okay, I'll keep going. So there was a question about Jira setup. I just wanted to clarify it first. So within Opkey, we have a very simple app setting. We go there, it populates everything. You authenticate your credentials, log in, and it's as simple as that. We have established the connection via this window. And then when we start using Jira, you will have, when you set up your stories, you will have few tags in there to say, hey, populate this feature, whatever is in the value of this tag, populated in the feature field in Jira. So you will have that mapping set up, completely optional. Otherwise, by default, we have few setups done in the background. But long story short, all you need is enter the details here, and Opkey establish the connection with Jira. So I hope I've answered that. Now, guys, moving on to Workday update. So I will move on to the first one, which I am personally very close to. When customers approach Opkey or any tool for that matter, the first thing is two questions they always have is, hey, what should I test? Even if I have a regression suite of 1,000 test cases, which I'm running for every release or weekly for that matter, am I doing enough testing? What are the active BPs? What are the tasks? Is my regression suite enough to give me all the high risk coverage? All these things, very standard questions, customer after customer. So whilst a technology platform such as Opkey does address it, we wanted to make it more robust and give the visibility to your business so that they have a comfort that, yes, whatever testing is being done by the technical team on the automation side, we have a complete visibility as a business. We have a complete say in what needs to be tested. Most importantly, we have a complete peace of mind that all our risks are covered. So to keep that in mind, what we have enhanced our platform with is a feature called Test Plan. So you discover the tenant for any module, for example, core HR in this particular case. Opkey has gone into the tenant, come up with all the test cases that are recommended for you. Now you can go here and click on Test Plan. Now, once you do the test plan generation, what it does is it opens a spreadsheet like this, which can be obviously downloaded, saved, and now can be shared with your business. So some of the key highlights of this test plan, the summary sheet will tell you key details like when it was extracted, most importantly, all the functional areas. These functional areas are specific to what is applicable in your tenant based on the configurations that we have identified. For example, we might have a customer or a tenant where there are no unions configured, in which case you won't see this coming up. We do have few more functional areas which are applicable for HCM core, but you are not seeing them here because this particular tenant doesn't have those configs available. So high-level functional areas. Now let's dig deeper into it. This is an absolute gold for all your HR admins, for all your business users. Why? For a variety of reasons. For every functional area you saw, for position management, for example, you have a detailed suggested test case to say, these are all the test cases which are applicable in your tenant and you should be testing. Not just one liner, a detailed description. Also, not just any test case. As I keep on emphasizing, it is tailored for your tenant. So if you happen to have a tenant where variable time is not even applicable, it's not even configured, you won't see this row coming up. So your business doesn't have to say, oh, but this isn't applicable, but this isn't for me. It's not a repository of 6,000 test cases dumped onto you, go pick and choose. It's a suggested test case test plan tailored specifically for you on two bases: your configuration and your transactional data. We are not a config centric platform. We are not a data centric platform. We are the best of both worlds. Our platform goes into your tenant, fetches the essential and important details, and come up with tailored test plan for you. And you can now have a complete visibility of what needs to be tested and all the conflicts which are applicable for any test, all the various personas. For HCM core, you should be testing employee as self-serve. You should be testing various manager self-serve actions, HR admin actions. So everything detailed in there. A highly requested feature. Now in the enhancement, you will also see another tab, the release which is coming up the patch. You will see mind versus covered. We are going to give you a list of all the mind business processes and tasks in your tenant and a coverage analysis of, hey, these 140 test cases cover this many percentage of your BPs, this many percentage of your tasks. There goes the second question, am I covering the risk enough? So one document, complete transparency and complete peace of mind. The second feature I wanted to highlight was, again, something very, very close to my heart personally, which is the condition rules. When we do the onboarding, a lot of business processes have condition rules for variety of reasons and for a lot of customers. Condition rules, as you know, in Workday landscape can be Workday owned or custom made. Workday owned are pretty straightforward because they have one liner description, no further way to dig deep into. The problem comes when we have custom condition rules. I can have a sequence of ands, ors, and scratching the mind to say how to interpret this condition rule and what kind of data do I need to test the condition. Again, a constant problem. With this release, what you will see is Opkey will go into your tenant and will fetch all the condition rules straight away. We have taken this a step further. Not only are we reading your condition rules, via our AI-enabled test engine, we are giving you the data sets that you should be testing to make sure that that condition rule gets tested thoroughly. So for a condition rule like this, we are telling you, hey, it will make sense wherever to test this, you need a data where parent process status is pending, change organization task status is this, so on and so forth. So you can have any condition rule with multiple data sets, in which case it will give you good 4 or 5 data sets to make sure all the ands and ors are exercised. Again, complete risk management, a very, very efficient and effective use of artificial intelligence to make sure we are not just reading your configurations, but giving you the data as well that is required. So in interest of time, I will take a pause and see if we have any questions outstanding that we can answer and help the crowd here.
Yeah, and just a time check, Deepti, we got about 5 minutes left. I think there is a couple things in the Q&A, but they're more kind of asking about capabilities. One is about Jira and one's about EBS. So was that what you wanted to show on the Workday side? Is there anything else that you'd like to show?
I think I am okay from Workday. I can talk about a couple more features, but yeah, I think these are the two highlights I wanted to show.
Perfect. Yeah, I know it's tough, right? I mean, we probably could be here for a couple hours. There's so much good things to show. So yeah, no, thank you, Deepti. And if you wouldn't mind in the Q&A, while we kind of take this home, if you could kind of give the update. There's a question on Jira, and then team, if there's any response on this kind of question about EBS. And I assume for that person who asked that you're talking about discovery, if you could clarify if that's what you're referencing, that'd be great. But let's let me take it back and let's kind of take this home and see if we can answer a question or two in the last couple minutes. Okay, so and kind of going back here to where we left off. So we got through, thank you, Deepti, for highlighting some of the great things on the Workday side. I know there's a lot more. There are several updates at the platform level, specifically really enhancing our QLM and our ability to kind of report, build, any types of plans or reports or analytics that you'd like to leverage. Which is kind of is just going to really it just give you that more of a dynamic experience to kind of do all things in Opkey. And again, having all of this capability in QLM allows you to trace all the activities across your team and the agents. So a lot of value there, and so I won't go into each of those, but definitely a big focus. So you can kind of have that one-stop shop to trace everything together, get real-time reporting and analytics, and make sure that you're able to inform your business and manage your team appropriately. I will just highlight, one of the things, and I know Deepti, you talked about this, central agent management and ability to update plugins is something a lot of customers have asked for. So we're really excited to just make that more kind of condensed and in one place and reduce the actions you need to take to kind of manage your different agents and your virtual machines. Make sure those plugins are accounted for and you can do it in a much simpler way. And also, be able to shut down your VMs based on certain schedules and just have more controls, right? And I do want to touch on, before we wrap up here, and maybe open it up for some of the Q&A that we saw to bring that live, is the patch. So we have a patch coming in the next couple of days. And I just wanted to kind of emphasize also this central agent management. We talked about the ability to update your plugins, but it's really going to be this kind of one page to manage everything related to your agents. And that's huge, because that's going to save you time. It's going to give you this visibility, and as you manage, and as your administrator will have that kind of overview and insight into the different agents, kind of where they're at, are they up to date? And do it in a very simple way. So very exciting. I know this is something customers have been asking for, so we're really excited. And then we also mentioned, our focus on security, and we have a very secure environment, a lot of different options from a hosting perspective, but we continue to make sure that we are bringing as many security layers as needed, because we know specific industries and certain customers have various kind of stringent security requirements, and we're making sure we have all things in place to meet those requirements. So very exciting, and something that is a continued focus for us at Opkey. So we have 1.5 minutes left. I will say, again, we answered all the questions, so hopefully that's insightful. I would ask anyone to kind of take a look at those. If there's any questions that you have, maybe we already answered it. I know there are questions about some of the capabilities you saw, and if those capabilities will be expanded to other enterprise solutions or other custom applications. And definitely our focus is, as we continue to innovate, is to take the capabilities we're building in one technology. So for example, Oracle or Workday, I know we had a lot of updates there, and continue to expand that, right? Because we have the underlying technology, and then bring that to these different enterprise software solutions or custom applications that our customers have, so you can leverage all the great Opkey functionality, no matter what your technology that you're leveraging. So that will take time, right? I mean, we're focused on kind of releasing these in certain focus areas, and then it will expand. So don't have a clear timeline on when that will kind of rolled out. I know some questions were focused on custom apps, some were like EBS, but just know that it is a focus for us to take the technology we've developed, and as we're seeing that add value, expand that across how we help support you in the ERP systems that you manage. So with that, we're at time. Thank you so much for joining today. Thank you for your questions. Hope everyone has a great rest of the day. Thank you.